Have you ever wondered where some of our most basic ideas of right and wrong come from? Ideas like don't steal or honor your parents. Well, a lot of it traces back to an incredible story from thousands of years ago. A story that unfolds in the vast, empty desert with a group of people who had just found freedom that didn't know what to do with it. Imagine this, long ago, in the wilderness of Sinai, a whole nation is on a journey. The Israelites, led by a man named Moses, have just escaped a life of slavery in Egypt. They are finally free, but there's a problem. Freedom without any rules or guidance can quickly turn into chaos. Think about it, no laws, no structure, just hundreds of thousands of people trying to survive in the desert. They needed something to hold them together, a common purpose, a guide for how to live. This is the story of how God gave them exactly that, a set of laws that would shape not just their future, but the moral compass of the world. We know them today as the Ten Commandments. The Israelites set up their camp at the base of a huge, imposing mountain called Sinai. It towered over them, its peaks lost in the clouds, looking rugged and mysterious. It was here that their leader, Moses, went up to meet with God. And on that mountain, God made a powerful promise. He said, "If you obey me and keep my covenant, you will be my treasured people, set apart from all other nations." Down below, the people heard this message and agreed with all their hearts. They wanted to follow God, but how? They needed clear directions, a roadmap for this new life of freedom. Then, something extraordinary happened. On the morning of the third day, the entire camp was jolted awake. The mountain began to tremble. Thunder roared so loudly it shook the ground, and lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the dark, thick cloud that had completely covered the peak. A sound like a trumpet blast grew louder and louder, echoing through the valley. The people were terrified, trembling in their tents. It was an unmistakable display of power and majesty. God's presence had descended upon Mount Sinai in fire and cloud, and it was a moment that no one present would ever forget. Amidst this awesome and terrifying scene, one man was called to step forward. Moses, their chosen leader, began to climb the mountain once again, walking directly into the storm. He ascended into the thick cloud, into the heart of the fire and smoke where God was. And there, alone with God, Moses received the 10 clear commandments. These weren't just random rules. They were 10 foundational principles designed to create a just and compassionate society. These were the words that would shape not only the nation of Israel, but would also echo through history, forming the moral bedrock for countless generations and civilizations to come. So, what did God actually say? Let's break it down in simple, everyday language. First and foremost, put God first. Don't worship anything or anyone else. Second, don't make idols, don't create statues or images and bow down to them. Third, respect God's name. Don't use it lightly or in a disrespectful way. Fourth, keep the Sabbath day holy. This was a radical idea. One day a week set aside for rest and worship for everyone, even servants and animals. The next 6 commandments shifted focus from God to how people should treat each other. Fifth, honor your father and mother. This builds a foundation of respect within the family. Sixth, do not murder, the ultimate protection of human life. Seventh, do not commit adultery. This protects the sacred bond of marriage. Eighth, do not steal. This protects property and promotes fairness. Ninth, do not lie about others, protecting reputation and truth. And finally, 10th, do not covet. This is a unique one. It's about the heart. Don't be consumed with jealousy over what your neighbor has. These weren't just a list of don'ts. They were a blueprint for living together with respect for God, for family, and for the entire community. Down at the foot of the mountain, the people were completely overwhelmed. When they heard the booming voice of God and saw the mountain blazing with fire, they were terrified. They backed away and pleaded with Moses, "You speak to us, and we will listen. But please, Don't let God speak directly to us, or we will die. They were face to face with the raw power of the divine, and it was too much for them to handle. Moses tried to reassure them, saying, "Don't be afraid. God has come to test you, so that the fear of him will stay with you and keep you from sinning." He was trying to explain that this awesome display was meant to inspire respect, not just fear. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Moses was up on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, receiving the law. Down below, the people grew restless and anxious. Their leader was gone, and their faith began to waver. They went to Aaron, Moses' brother, and demanded, "Make us a god to lead us." We don't know what has happened to this Moses. Under pressure, Aaron collected all their gold jewelry, melted it down, and fashioned it into the statue of a golden calf. The people then declared, "This is your God, O Israel, who brought you out of Egypt," and began to celebrate and worship the idol. When Moses finally came down the mountain, carrying the 2 stone tablets engraved by God's own finger, he saw the scene. He was absolutely heartbroken and furious. In a moment of righteous anger, he threw the tablets to the ground, shattering them. The people had broken the very first and second commandments before the rules were even fully delivered. It seems like the story could end there, in failure, but it doesn't. Because this is also a story about forgiveness and second chances. God is merciful. Moses, deeply grieved but still loving his people, went back up the mountain. He pleaded with God to forgive them, even offering his own life in their place. God heard his prayer. He forgave the Israelites and renewed his covenant with them. He instructed Moses to carve 2 new stone tablets, just like the first ones, and once again, the 10 Commandments were written on them this time, to serve as a permanent, enduring reminder of God's law and his promise to his people. So, what's the real point of these 10 Commandments? They were never meant to be a heavy burden or a joyless list of restrictions. They were a gift. They were designed to bring order, justice, and peace to a new nation. Think of them as the guardrails on the road to freedom. They taught the Israelites how to build a society where life is valued, families are strong, truth is honored, and everyone is treated with fairness and respect. They taught them how to love God and how to love their neighbor. And the incredible thing is, even today, thousands of years later, these 10 simple principles continue to influence laws, shape cultures, and guide the moral values of people all over the world. The story of the 10 Commandments is so much more than just a piece of ancient history. It's a timeless lesson that freedom isn't a free-for-all. True, lasting freedom requires boundaries, responsibility, and respect. It is a reminder that the best kind of life is one lived with love for God and for others. So, the next time you hear about the 10 Commandments, remember they aren't just old words carved in stone. They are living, breathing principles meant to guide us toward a better, more just, and more compassionate life then, now, and always. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story meaningful, please give this video a like and consider subscribing for more content that explores the powerful stories that have shaped our world. See you next time.